only one part of it, right? That's the most important note in the chord, but the second and equally important note in the chord is going to be the note that makes it major or minor, right? So what you saw when you were looking at his, or I should say when you caught a glance of his fingers, was a nice visual cue in terms of what type of chord he was doing. He was doing like probably like a bar chord. It looked like his fingers were kind of in this shape, but if we do a B major 7, okay, you notice that there's a pinky right here on the second string, okay, so that's kind of that note right there. And if you play that note over the original, you're gonna find that it kind of is gonna clash a little bit. And so if you look at B minor is actually a very, very similar shape, you know. Pinky and ring finger just switch places. So this is B major 7. If you do B major 7 and B minor 7, shape-wise, these two fingers just switch strings. Like the pinky goes from the second to the third string, and the middle finger goes from the third to the second string. And it's actually like a very, very easy kind of visual mistake to make. But musically, okay, it's actually a very big difference, because a major chord versus a minor chord, even though there's only that little bit of a difference there, it's going to actually impact the overall sound quite a bit. And if you remember the key that we're in, this B minor shape, obviously I'm capoed, so it would be a C sharp minor transposed, right? But this particular chord is actually in the chord family, whereas the B major 7 that you wrote was not. And not to say that you can't use notes that are not in the chord family, okay? But they shouldn't really be the first chords that you go to. The first chord that you guess is usually going to be, you know, one of those 6 diatonic major or minor chords that you want to kind of give it a go first, right? Because those are the ones you want to kind of run through, and a lot of the music that's very tonal and just kind of nice sounding is going to be, you know, kind of within that realm of like that comfort zone of the 1, 4, 5 being major and 2, 3, 6 being minor. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Very nice. And so I'm going to look it up again. And to Viceroy. There it is. I'm going to look up the live one. Okay? So I'm going to load it up in the background. And while we let that load up, I'm going to show you the rhythm for that part, okay? Where it is. That was really quick. Very nice. So that bass note is very clearly a B, okay? But did you notice the timing of that B chord? That particular, it's a B minor now that I kind of cleared that up. Do you know the timing of the B minor chord?
No.
No, okay, that's fine, that's fine. So when we listen to it, okay, I'm gonna click along. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Do you hear that? The B, it jumped in on the and of 4, and so we'll go 3, 4, 1, 2, da, da, oh, right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and. Let's show you that again. 1, 2, 3, and. So that becomes the and of 4 is when we switch to the B minor there. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. Why don't you try that? It's actually kind of challenging, but just take it as slow as you want, even though, of course, you'll speed it up, knowing you.
1, 2, 3,
and... So slower, even slower than that.
Okay. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay.
Yeah, so that's still quite a bit of time there. So make it like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can count the 4 as well. So there's that marker of the space that we're not playing.
Yeah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Good. So it's challenging. Anytime you get to something that's challenging, and you say like beat 4, but your brain really slows you down, and your 4 actually comes in like way later than it should, because that's just the nature of the challenging thing. But remember to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So don't stop counting. You know what I mean? Keep the count going.
It's hard for me to switch to the B minor. It's my problem.
Yeah, it's a hard chord to switch to from this weird shape here. It's like no common fingers.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Yeah. Well, you get it. You get the timing there, okay? See, now when you counted 4 that time, you didn't pause, okay? And that's the timing. And imagine if you actually slow it down, then you'll get to then you'll have no problem with it. But you like playing fast. That's fine. So it's da 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 da. And the next chord, when does that come in? If we listen to it and we count along, it's gonna go 1, 2, 3 and 2 and 3, 4. You hear that? It comes in on 3, the E minor shape, which is the F sharp minor in this key, comes in on beat 3. So I'll show you in context what that would all sound like. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So now you notice throughout the entire thing I'm still counting. That's actually not easy to do, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. That's kind of the best way to keep track of when the time to switch chords has come, you know, when the appropriate time to switch is, right? So why don't you give that a shot. On beat 3, directly following the B minor shape, we switch to the E minor shape, okay?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let me try that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3.
So right there, that's where the 3 is, right?
Alright. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3.
There you go. Very good, very good. And so that E minor is just there on beat 3, and it's kind of an interesting contrast, because you have the B minor, which came in on the syncopated 1 and 2 and it was like on the and of 4. Yeah, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So the and of 4 obviously is a syncopated beat, but then the chord immediately succeeding it is going to be on beat 3, which is on the beat. It's very much on the beat. And so you have this kind of interesting contrast. So you got this chord, up, down, you know, whatever. Oh, that's the second one. I hummed the second one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and 2. Ba, da, da, up and down. Ba, 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 something like that, right? So that's kind of the whole thing put together. So that B minor, it kind of has that little jolt to it. It kind of sticks up a teeny bit, like it perks up, you know, your ears in terms of the rhythm. But then the E minor shape is back to the kind of very grounded, and it has that kind of well-seated feel on the beat. And then it's only 2 beats, because it's just beat 3 and 4 to the ba, 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 because this is on beat 1, right? So why don't you try and put that all together real quick, and don't worry if you can't get it right now, because you can obviously spend all week on it, but just so that we can kind of like count through it once.
Okay. 1 and 2 and 3. Right. 1, 2 just go all the way?
No, that's fine. Just see how far you can get.
Okay. I don't know the timing for the rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know the timing for the rest.
So the rest of it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I believe it comes in on the and right there. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and almost the entire measure there. But yeah, it's hard to memorize, but I'm sure you know the song well enough to just see how far you can get. Give it another shot.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
So it's tricky because that E minor shape is only 2 beats, right?
Yeah.
So try that one more time.
Okay. 1, 2, and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, and 3 and 4 and.
There it is. There it is. You just did it. Don't give yourself a little bit more credit than that. That was good. That was good. That was your first try. So very good. Very good. You were able to get through that whole thing, and sort of towards the end, you got the timing right, but you did taper off a teeny bit in the counting, the verbal counting. Now you know that because we've done No Surprises, and we did a little bit of that Bazan song, Lost My Shape, right? So those songs are kind of prime examples of some pretty simple and yet challenging rhythms, especially when you have like a melodic part and a chord part that are happening in at different times. And this particular song now, we're introducing a lot more syncopated chord changes, right? Mm-hmm. Like for instance, in Bazan's song Lost My Shape, all those chord changes happen on the beat, on the 1, or maybe on beat 3, but most of them are on like beat 1. And then for No Surprises, we have most of those chords are happening on the beat, but the melody starts to happen off the beat on both of those songs. But this particular song, we have chords happening off the beat, right?
Yeah.
And so if you think about that for a second, that's actually a really cool device. As a songwriter, like most of the time people think about chord progressions, they go, oh, let's do this for 4 beats. And then this for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And there's nothing wrong with that. Simple songs are really nice too, but it starts to open up your world a teeny bit, right? Just imagine, right, as you're playing a new song and you're kind of really into this chord progression you discovered, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I could do a chord change at this kind of syncopated time instead. So you can kind of go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Obviously, I'm exaggerating right there, like I'm, what's that guy? What's that guy's name that would do? You do the. Frampton. Frampton?
Yeah.
Man, I'm a guitar teacher. I should know that stuff. But anyway, so you could change a chord on the upbeat, right? And what that does all of a sudden to your chord progression is that it becomes instantly like more invigorated. Does that make sense? Not that it's better than changing on the beat. It's a question of taste, right? But in this particular song, it makes it more like there's like this kind of bounce to it. There's kind of like a uppity feeling, But yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll show you one more time. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4
Right.
Cool. So now it may seem easy for me to kind of count and play all at the same time, but that's not because like I was born doing this or something. You know, it definitely took work. I would say a big thing that helped me out was just actually having had the experience of playing drums. And on drums, like I would play the hi-hat with my right hand, and then my left foot would be, you know, working the hi-hat pedal so that I could create, you know, open and close hi-hat sounds and textures there. And my left hand was on my snare drum, and my right foot was on the kick, and then you had all those different things going on at the same time. And obviously you don't have four brains, you can't focus on four things. I was going to say focus. You can't focus on four things. But instead, what you start to see as you become a drummer, or at least the way I perceived it, was you start to see these different rhythmic patterns, or you start to see the count as sort of this overarching thing. All the rhythms that you're playing, they all fit, and they're all juxtaposed within one overall understanding of the time as it flows from measure to measure. And so when you would play fills, or you would play some kind of syncopated, complicated beat that required your different limbs to do different things at different times, obviously it would take a lot of practice, but eventually it's all 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You know what I mean? It all fits into the system that we've been using, you and me. As we play through the song, you count 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, even though the chords happen at different times within those four. Like the chords happen on beat 1, or they happen on the and of 4, or they happen on beat 3, right? In this particular song, the chords happen at different times, but they're all still part of the constant 4 cycling, right? That meter just keeps coming back again and again and again. So the more you reinforce counting while you're playing and switching chords, even if the chords are switching at weird times, the easier it's going to be for you when you encounter super weird, like chord progressions in terms of like the timing, you know, at which the chords switch. So the classic example is always this: 1 2 and 3 and 1 2 1 2 and 3. Oh, I played the wrong chord there. 1 2 and 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 miscounted at the end, I think. Yep, that's Pyramid Song.
That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, thank you. I wish I wrote it.
So that had such a weird...
Oh yeah, the rhythm on that song, anytime you go on like a Radiohead forum and you just go like, hey, I think I figured out the rhythm for Pyramid Song, you get like 20 different responses, and like people trying to tell you what they think it is. And well, what I think it is is 3 2 3 3 2 3. So I hear 3 beats: 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. Then it repeats, right? And the reason I think that is because you'll hear, if you listen real closely, when Phil comes in, he's playing this constant ride cymbal every beat. Jumped into the river, and that's this underlying pulse that's happening, and he's playing a shuffle, kind of like a swung jazz beat underneath, but that's the main thing right there. And you notice when the chords change, it's gonna go 1 2 and 3 1 2 1 2 and 3 1 2 and 3 1 2 1 2 and 3 1. It'd be really easy to kind of understand if I just wrote it out, but that's probably for later. You know, we'll tackle that song later. But basically, you see what I'm saying? You want to be able to count all the way through so that when you get to the pyramid songs, you know, in your repertoire, you will be much more rhythmically in control. You know what I mean? It's almost like, it's like, you know, you imagine like the conductor, right? The conductor, he didn't necessarily write the piece. He didn't necessarily, you know, pen the score, but he's got to oversee all the different things happening in the orchestra. And so he has on his score like 10 to 20, you know, parts or something like that, all on one page, and he sees what everybody's doing all at once. That way he can kind of point to the oboe and just kind of, you know, emphasize, hey, it's your moment. And then he can go over to, you know, the woodwinds over here, or the strings, or the brass, and just kind of like call up different parts the way that the score is kind of indicating in time. And so how can he do that? Well, you could argue it's a little easier for him because he doesn't have an instrument to play, okay? But the thing is, it still requires a very, very particular type of musical mind, which is the ability to see where things fit, you know? The ability to see, like, at what moment something is supposed to happen. And so there's this anticipation that a conductor has when they kind of look out over the score, first of all, and then project that over the orchestra. So there's that type of anticipation and that intuitive knowing of like when something is supposed to happen. And that's how he's able to bring that all together. And so that's actually what I expect out of everybody, out of every musician. You know, I think that if you're in an orchestra, you should be able to get up there and conduct. That's a high expectation, but I think that's really important because otherwise you're just going to be focused on your part and you're not going to be listening to the others. You're not going to be aware of what's supposed to happen when and how to compensate if somebody makes a mistake, or if you make a mistake. It's tough to know when to get back into the song unless you've memorized that song like into your bones, you know? And so the idea of it is to increase your conductor ability. It's your ability to oversee what's happening, to somehow distance yourself from you playing your instrument while you're playing your instrument. You're actually the person playing and you're the observer at the same time. You're playing and you're also listening. You're jamming and you're also like watching. And so it's really weird. In reality what happens is your brain is actually switching back and forth between the two tasks, but it's what allows you to do stuff like this. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You know what I mean? Because clearly these patterns are threes happening over and over again. There's a cycle of threes in Weird Fishes, and but the drummer is playing, Phil's playing 1 2 3 4. So if he's playing in 4 and I'm playing in 3, what happens if one of us makes a mistake? Does the song just fall apart and we go, oh, you know, we're not very good, so you have to excuse us? You know, no, come on, you can push yourself to get to the point where you can actually lock in with the overall beat. And if the guitarist can lock into the overall beat and the drummer can lock into the overall beat, that overarching sense of time and the flow of the song will unite everybody. Okay? So like when you play guitar, you should also be thinking of it as like, well, I need to be able to count and play at the same time, because that's what's needed if I play with other people, or if I'm expected to play according to the time, you know, which is, one would argue, that's essential. You got to play according to the time. You got to be good, you know, got to be steady. Well, it's a high bar. It's a high bar. I know I'm kind of expressing quite a bit there, but I think you see the issue. It's like, to get to that next level, this is what you need to do. You need to be able to count and play at the same time. Okay? There's no sugarcoating it. But of course, like I said a few times already today, you really do have the option to play slower. and
All right.
it'll help you out. It's for your own good, you know. Okay.
All right.
Cool. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now this song is a great song. I love it. But the thing is, we can always kind of keep multiple plates spinning at the same time with these lessons, right? So let's go switch on over to. You wrote more in your 20 songs list, right?
I edited it.
You edited it. Okay. And you crossed a couple out because we did those.
I didn't make the first list with the idea in mind that we would be working on them, like deconstructing them.
Yeah. Wait, so you did put them in there, like, with that in mind, or you didn't?
Now I did, yeah, this list.
Oh, okay. So what was the initial list then? What did that reflect?
I was just hectically looking for something that, like, songs that actually had, like, a guitar in it, because I listen to a lot of electronic music that wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I know you transcribe, like, you know,
Yeah.
stuff that isn't exactly guitar, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, I wanted something that would,
Be weird. You wanted to be weird.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it comes with the territory, since, you know, our fondness for Radiohead kind of decided, I'm ready for that type of student. So you did put Weird Fishes in here, coincidentally. That's really cool. Flume is a really good song. It's pretty simple on the guitar, but worth talking about. I think since we're in the rhythmic mode, you know what I mean? Like, oh gosh, you put Sleeping Ute and Southern Point. Oh my God.
I know, they're difficult.
Woo! Yeah, they're gonna be challenging. But since we're in rhythm, you know, we might as well go with Weird Fishes next. What do you think about that?
Okay.
Like a guitar only version and Latitude. Weird Fishes. You know that version where he played solo on the keyboard? A little drum machine and a keyboard? It's pretty awesome. So I don't know why this person decided to put a sepia tone filter on their video, but I'm going to send it to you right here. Oh, maybe it was just the thumbnail. So he made a special guest appearance. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is there. And I have 3 practice tracks here. I'm gonna send them over to you. Okay, I'm gonna stop mine and let you hear yours again. Go ahead. You listening to yours now?
I was listening to yours.
Oh, you're listening to mine.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead and pull it up yourself. That way you can hear it in a little bit higher quality than the one that's just over Skype. And I'm gonna go ahead and upload those practice tracks for you. I actually made these for a previous student, so you are gonna be in luck, my friend.
Awesome.
Oops, wrong one. This one. I'm a noob when it comes to FTP. There it is.
So he's just got like an arpeggiator?
No, he's playing those notes.
Playing them?
He's playing those notes on the keyboard. It's really easy to play, kind of like a repeating pattern there across different notes like that. It's a little bit easier on the piano actually than it is on the guitar, I think. But that doesn't stop anybody. Doesn't stop me at least. So you see that version's pretty stripped down, it's pretty simple, right? And yet it still has the same energy. And the energy behind the song is that there's this 4 against these three, right? So the da 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 da, those are all eighth notes, right? And there are 8 eighth notes per measure, obviously, yeah? But there are groups of 3 happening. So what actually happens in this particular song is you have these leaking over the bar line. If you imagine each measure has bar lines,
One
right?
note over.
It's 1 note over, and then the next one is 2 notes leaked over. And the next one is 3 notes leaked over, which is the perfect cutoff, because the lowest common multiple, or lowest common multiple, is that right? I'm not very good at math. But 8, 8, 8. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24, and 24 divided by 3 is also, you're going to have 8 groups of those 3, right? So it'll fit in at that point. And this is the coolest thing that I get to show you now. But there's another one. Another cool thing that I made for a student, and I'm going to search for it right now and send it to you. And it basically details out the like, you know how there's 3 notes here? The high, medium, and low. High, middle, low, right? Well, these 3 notes, okay? I know I gave it to this guy named James. I'm gonna have to look for it. High, middle, low. Da, 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 da. So what I did was I actually transcribed out the rock beat, and then I added the high, middle, low over those 8. Does that make sense?
No. What?
Yeah, I'll show you. This will be the last thing we do, and then you'll kind of be... I'll give you the chord shapes, and then you can work on essentially what I've been telling you all lesson long, which is to count and play at the same time. It's pretty difficult to do, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Where is it? I'm disappointed. I think Google must have deleted it on me or something. That's okay. I'll create a new one for you. It's not hard. Okay, so we're going to create a little tab down here, okay? And this is, you see it says right next to 20 songs. Right now it says sheet 31. I'm going to call it Arpeggi so it doesn't take as much space horizontally. So obviously you're going to resize, get a lovely grid, okay? And we're going to insert a few rows, a few columns. Bam. Got 20 columns. It's way too many, but it's virtual space. Virtual real estate. I don't have to pay for it. Okay, so weird fishes. Here we go. Alright? So here's the rhythm. Now 1 E and 2 E and okay, 3 E and 4 E and that's atrocious with regard to the formatting. There it is. Change that font. I don't like Arial for this. So there it is. I'm gonna freeze this row, okay? And where is that? Freeze row. 1 row, okay? Now you see that. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do 2 rows because we're gonna do some melodic and harmonic work as well. So I'm gonna make sure that I put Weird Fishes, Arpeggi, key of in the deepest section, the bottom I see your eyes. They turn me They turn me or they trail me. I can't remember. They turn me. We're in the key of D, kind of. It's basically key of D major, okay? And what we're gonna do with that is that a siren over there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so the siren's not cool, but alright. So we're good here. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you high, middle, low, okay? And I'm gonna change these so I can format them correctly. Okay, high, middle, low. Alright? Bum bum bum. Paste, paste. I'm playing it wrong. It's 1 and 2 and. Oh man, I'm sorry about this. It's a much faster count because if you listen to Phil, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. Yeah, it's like really fast. So high, middle, low, high, middle, low, high, middle, low, high. See that? Now it's offset. Then I just paste this whole thing over, and this is middle at the end. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Now that is also offset, and then it's this low one to cap that off. But once you get there, it perfectly loops back. Okay? But
Yeah.
the question then should be, how many measures does he actually play before he repeats some musical section? It's clear that there's a repeating rhythmic pattern through the guitar, and it's clear that there are measures, but at what point does he actually go back to a song? Well, we have to count that now, okay? So I'll show you, I'll play it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is really challenging to count and play at the same time. 14, 15, 16, 16. Okay? Wow, that was tough.
Jesus.
So it was hard to do that all at once, but on the spot. But so there you go. So how many is that now? That is 6 times 12. That's 12, right? And so then from if we're going to do 16, this is our 16th measure right here. You can see it? This is, boom. I got the gray right there. Like kind of up, you know, made it gray.
Yeah.
Okay? So that gray part that you're clicking on, or that I'm clicking on, that is the 16th measure. And if you notice, it ends on a middle note. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but that means that you got to actually remember to not complete the pattern to get back to the beginning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you the chords, okay? And basically I'm going to give you a color for when each chord happens, okay? We'll do a nicer color than that, okay? This is going to be E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it switches on beat 4. Okay. That's going to be E minor. And then this is going to be, it's kind of your F sharp minor. So far so good?
Yeah.
And this is that color. Okay. And then this is your kind of high chord up here. Alright. I'm going to switch colors just to make it easier to read. Do like a green. Okay. Whoopsies. Wrong. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1 and 2. There we go. 3, 4, 1 and. That note changes. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yeah. And so that one changes at that point. Okay? So this looks overwhelming, but it is not. As with every single thing we do, if you're methodical about it, if you take your time with it, if you do it slow and break it up, you can conquer any mountain. Coolest thing about it is, this is not Everest. I heard that if you get to a certain point on Mount Everest, you have to go or turn back. You can't just like decide and take your time, because if you don't make up your mind, you'll die. So you actually have to like. How does this relate? How does this relate? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, sir. So when you actually go up to the summit and come back, you only have a limited amount of time to actually get to the top. But for us, we could take as long as we want to get to the top. There's no deathly fatal consequence. So this is the thing. I really think it's the best time in the world to learn music. Not just because, learning music is like this thing with no risks like that. That's kind of how I see it. It's like you can only get better, and it's only like you only get the reward is like you can make more cool music, But the other part of it is that like, we're doing the Skype lesson, and like there's this crazy Google Doc, and there's a crazy guy like me who's like super into music and music theory, and there's like ear training tools, there's stuff that slows down music for you, we can do YouTube links. It's just there are different versions of something that this dude named Tom York played way out in this festival in the UK, and we have a recording of it to help us to appreciate the nature of a song that is stripped down. But that song itself, we have it because of an MP3, that came out on October 10th in 2007. This is ridiculous. This is just amazing. Like, feel inspired,
bro. It kills
me
to hear people complain and say that, like, music isn't what it used to be or whatever. Like, especially with technology nowadays, like, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Music's only getting better, and it's easier to spread music and to learn music and.
Well said. Well said. It's the greatest time for music in a way.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's also the easiest time for people to enter into the music world that may or may not be, as great as, people who had to break through the hard way before.
Right.
But it's all subjective. So okay, so I'm going to paste that over now. High, middle. Oops, high, green. Man, it's great. I feel like I'm playing a game, okay?
So it's just changing, it's the same chord, just changing one note?
Correct.
Okay.
So within that green, okay, it's really just the same type of chord, but one note is melodically changing, okay? So you can get this color over here now, and I'm going to give you the chord, okay? Okay, and this is going to be your E minor 7, which is it's an E minor 7 with no fifth, although it's not really a big deal to know that. Okay, and it's going to go X757, XX. In the deepest ocean, you got it? And then the next one, I'm going to merge these, and this is the color. Yeah, you got it, Who you need me for?
I was just guessed that it just moved the whole shape up.
It did, because musically that's what you're hearing as well, right? The whole thing
Yeah.
shifts up in tandem.
Yeah. I knew it shifted up, I just didn't know the whole shape.
Correct. All right, awesome. And then this one is it's an A major with no fifth.
Oh, I know that. Hard.
And it's gonna be X12 11 14.
What? Oh.
X12 11 14. Yeah? Yeah, there we go. And then the next one is going to be this melodic change, okay? This little color, this flesh-colored melodic change. And it's going to be A major, but you're going to add a 7. So you're going to do X12, 11, 12. And then you're going to change it to, which is still an A major add 6 with no fifth, or you could look at it as like an inverted chord, which I'll do it. I'll call it an inverted chord just because it's easier. So F sharp minor over A. If you hear that, F sharp minor, there it is. Does that make sense? So F sharp minor over A is just one finger different again. 12, 11, 11, X, X. So I want to show you real quickly what that's all about. Okay? Okay, so far you with me? You understand everything?
Yes.
Okay, and while we're doing this, let me give you the link to the practice track that I created for another student. This is awesome. Okay, so I want you to go to warrenlane.com/students right here, and then click on Weirdfish's Arpeggi practice track, and click on one of those, or download all 3 of them. They're all at different speeds. I made them in Ableton Live. It's pretty awesome. But I'm gonna open the fastest. I'll open the fastest one just so I can demonstrate to you the timing. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm gonna pause it and demonstrate. Here we go. Okay, so get this Skype window over here and move it over. Okay, and this is all of our musical brilliance. Here we go. No, move it over a little bit more. All right. So any questions so far?
None.
So we've color-coded the chord progression, and you notice that the chords switch at different times. It's really weird. It switches on the and, it switches on the beat 4, it switches on 1, and this pattern of 3 is going on at the same time. It's like really mind-blowingly or mind-numbingly crazy, right? Depending on how you want to look at it. But it's all there, and take your time with it is kind of the approach that I'm going to go with, okay? So are you ready? I'm going to play the practice track now. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it's too loud. Right around there. Okay, yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Switch. So I'm on that next chord. 1, 2, 3. Switch. 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 2 and 3. Okay. Oh, I forgot the last chord. D major 7. Okay, there you go. You see that?
Yeah.
So it's all there. That's full speed, obviously. We don't need to take it at that speed. And I messed up. I messed up here. I make mistakes. So sue me. This last chord is the D major 7. Okay? Here we go. And we're going to change it. You pick the color. Purple? How's purple? No, that's ugly.
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't care. Okay, we'll do this light purple. Lilac. I don't know why I know that. Lilac.
I'm like semi-colorblind, so I can't tell the difference between the first and last colors.
The first and last.
Yeah.
Okay, let me make it a little bit more striking. Okay. So how's that?
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Awesome. Okay, and then so this is a D major 7 with no fifth. Again, these are all 3-note chords, so it's like he keeps omitting notes here and there, which is kind of cool. Interesting to think about. 10, 9, 11, XX. Okay, can you form that chord real quick?
9, 11.
Yeah, there you go. So now, not only do you have when the chords change, but you also have, in fact, the high, middle, or low note described to you kind of exactly at the point, you know, to which you actually need to be in the chord, right? So you can actually be on the high, middle, or low note, and this document tells you what to do, no matter what. Cool?
Awesome.
Awesome, dude. So you know what to do. Play through while counting. Do this with the DeMarco Murray Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what his name is. Mac DeMarco.
Yep, you got it.
Mac, or is it Matt?
It's Mac DeMarco.
DeMarco Murray. Let's call him.
Sounds like a stage name.
Let's call him the running back from Dallas. But yeah, so basically you're gonna do that song counting, and then we're gonna spin another plate. Okay, like spinning plates.
Oh my god.
And we're gonna do some like that pun.
Yeah, that was good.
Then we're gonna do weird fishes. All right.
Okay.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Does so pretty much just like repeats like that?
Well, that's all you gotta worry about for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want any more.
So did you download the practice tracks?
I did. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Okay, cool. Well, let me know if you need any clarification or anything during the week. Yeah, appreciate you being a trooper. This is kind of tough work.
Yeah, you'll probably be hearing from me this week.
All right, good. I plan on it. All right, take care, man. Bye.